Merry meet and welcome to Psalmic Saturday here at Ariel's Corner. This is Ariel Gatoga and we are streaming live here on YouTube. Moderating today are the lovely Heather, the lovely Honeypaw, and the lovely Dre. Thank you so much, moderators, and thank you to everyone for joining us today. We're going to be working on Psalm 38 today, so if you wanted to follow along, you can look that up on our online Witches Psalter, or if you have a psalm book or a Bible, you can use that, obviously. Let's see. We have a premiere today at 11:15. This isn't a super duper long psalm. I just didn't want to rush, so I put that at 11:15. I believe we will be having, you should be able to, let me just check here. You should be able to get to the premiere right from this stream by hanging out to the end of the exit music, but I'm just going to make sure that I did that. And I did. Okay, good. So let's see. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Our website's at arielscorner.com, arielscorner.com, and you can find all kinds of psalm magic resources right there on that website. We also have a free booklet you can download about psalm magic. It's called How to Work Psalm Magic, and you can download that by going to arielgatoga.com/psalmbook, arielgatoga.com/psalmbook. On our main website, arielscorner.com, in the headers and footers of each page, you'll find links to our social media, including our private Facebook group and our Discord server. We'd love to see you over there. If you have any questions for me, you can put them right in the chat thread, and I will do my best to get to them before the end of the stream. If for some reason I cannot answer your question, please take it right on over to the Discord server or the private Facebook group, and we will answer it there. If you'd like to go to our shop, you can find that at arielscornershop.com, arielscornershop.com. We also have a podcast hub, and you can find that at arielspodcasts.com. If you would like to give a donation to this channel, you can do that by going to our payment page, our donation page. That's what I call it. If you want to donate, you can go to the donate page. If you are at our website, arielscorner.com, in the footer, there's a little button for donations. You could also use our PayPal portal by going to paypal.me/arielgatoga, paypal.me/arielgatoga, or if you want to give a donation right off of YouTube, you could use a super sticker, super chat, or super thanks. We do appreciate your support, and what we appreciate most of all is that you are here. And we're going to get going on our psalm spell so that we don't run over, and I hope everybody can join us for our premiere at 11:15. Okie dokie. Okay. Excuse me. Today we are working Psalm 38. There's not a ton of traditional uses for Psalm 38 specifically. There's the ridding oneself of unhealthy desires, and then there's protection in court. And it's very commonly called upon for court cases and things like that. But it's also one of the 7 purification psalms, so it's a very important psalm, and you can use it for purifying yourself of all kinds of things. And today I want to use Psalm 38 and gear it toward purifying ourselves of anxiety. But whatever your purpose is, you can use the same seeds of wisdom that we find and apply them to whatever your need is, whatever you've brought to the psalm. The way we work psalm magic is simple, easy, and effective. We take that psalm and we speak it out loud all the way through once without stopping. We call this an incantation. After we've finished our incantation, we go back through that psalm and we consider each verse one at a time, and we just look for hidden meanings that lie in the psalm. We call those occult meanings because they're hidden. And I find it similar to doing a tarot reading. Yeah, there are some symbols that tend to mean the same things over and over again. But you know how it is when you're reading tarot, sometimes it means something different because of the way the rest of the spread is, or just you get an intuitive pull that the meaning is this or that. And the same thing goes with working psalm magic. You really want to use your intuition and let yourself be guided to find those seeds of wisdom. And whatever you find, you do your best to apply to whatever the situation is that you've brought to the psalm. And by doing this, you're taking those seeds of magic and planting them deeply in your mind, where they take root, they grow, they blossom forth, and they bear fruit after their kind. And that is precisely what we are going to do together right now with Psalm 38. O Lord, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither hasten me in thy hot displeasure. Excuse me, I'm going to start over again. I just have to get my voice back. Here we go. O Lord, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. For thine arrows stick fast in me, and thy hand presseth me sore. There is no soundness in my flesh because of thine anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sin. For mine iniquities are gone over mine head. As an heavy burden, they are too heavy for me. My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness. I am troubled. I am bowed down greatly. I go mourning all the day long. For my loins are filled with a loathsome disease, and there is no soundness in my flesh. I am feeble and sore broken. I have roared by reason of disquietness of my heart. I have roared by reason of the disquietness of my heart. Lord, all my desire is before thee, and my groaning is not hid from thee. My heart panteth, my strength faileth me. As for the light of mine eyes, it is also gone from me. My lovers and my friends stand aloof from my sore, and my kinsmen stand afar off. They also seek after my life. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. But I as a deaf man heard not, and I was as a dumb man that opened not his mouth. Thus I was as a man that heareth not, and in whose mouth are no reproofs. For in thee, O Lord, do I hope. Thou wilt hear, O Lord my God. For I said, hear me, lest otherwise they should rejoice over me. When my foot slippeth, they magnify themselves against me. For I am ready to halt, and my sorrow is continually before me. For I will declare mine iniquity, I will be sorry for my sin. But mine enemies are lively, and they are strong, and they that hate me wrongfully are multiplied. They also that render evil for good are mine adversaries, because I follow the thing that is good. Forsake me not, O Lord, O my God, be not far from me. Make haste to help me, O Lord, my salvation. It's starting out with a direct invocation to the infinite, and Lord represents in the Hebrew Bible, let's say that again. The King James Bible translated the Tetragrammaton into the word Lord. And so we are invoking Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh here. But remember, in magic, in psalm magic specifically, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, the Tetragrammaton, is a symbol. And it's a symbol of the one power. And it's important that we orient to this one power each time we work psalms, so we don't accidentally or inadvertently allow ourselves to slip into superstitious thinking that there's some capricious deity outside of us that needs our supplications in order to come in and rescue us. Instead, the Lord, being a symbol of the one power of the universe, is the only power that exists, and we are an extension of that power. And there is no place where we are disconnected from this power except in our minds. So, hang on, something's not good. Okay, sorry about that. So, it's important for us to orient who we are in relationship to this force, this Lord, this Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. We are a direct extension of it. We are one with it. It is the Creator, and we are that Creator's extension. When we do this, we empower our magic. We become one with our true power, and that is why our success is always assured, because there's nothing that can oppose this force. Since there's only one, there's nothing that can go up against it. There's nothing that can thwart it in any way. And since we and this force are one, there's nothing that can go up against us either. O Lord, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. We know what that feels like when we are overwhelmed with anxiety. It feels like we're being punished. What did I do to deserve this? And it feels like it's very easy to project blame onto the infinite and say, well, you must be mad at me, otherwise I wouldn't be going through this. For thine arrows stick fast in me, and thy hand presseth me sore. Again, blaming the infinite for our anxiety. It must be you that's doing this. I couldn't have done this to myself. I would never have wished this on myself. What did I do to deserve this? There is no soundness in my flesh because of thine anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sin. I must have done something to deserve this, and you're punishing me for it. That's the only excuse I can find as to why I'm going through this. There can be no other reason than I must be a miserable sinner who deserves punishment. Now, it's important that we understand that ultimately we know that none of this is true, but giving voice to this is important because it's only by turning and facing these kinds of ideas that we are able to release them. If we pretend like something's not there, there's nothing that we can do to release ourselves from it because it's not really happening in our mind. So it's important for us to turn and face this idea in whatever way it presents itself to us, that there's some force outside of us that is doling out punishments, and I must have done something to deserve this. For mine iniquities are gone over mine head, as an heavy burden, they are too heavy for me. If you have done something that you feel bad about, if you have done something that you feel guilty about, it's good to acknowledge that, and it's also good to acknowledge that you're feeling guilt, so that must mean that you have some morals, right? But living in the guilt, sitting in the guilt, if that's what's causing the anxiety, that's not the infinite's will for you. The infinite does not will that you be anxious. The infinite does not will for you to feel guilty. The infinite is all grace, all forgiveness, because from the infinite's point of view, you can't sin. It's impossible. You can't. There's no possible way for you to sin because it's not the infinite's will for you to sin. You weren't created to be a sinner. The only way you can sin is within the realm of a nightmare or a hallucination. And to ask to be forgiven by the infinite for something that you didn't do doesn't compute as far as the infinite's concerned. The infinite knows that you are innocent. The infinite knows that you are worthy, and the infinite knows that you aren't ultimately anxious except for within the realm of this hallucination. And until you, which we'll get to as the psalm progresses, until you are capable of finding the right way to ask for something, you're not going to be able to be given that something. If you're asking for the impossible, you're never going to be granted that. And it's impossible for you to ask for the infinite to stop punishing you for sins, because the infinite doesn't punish and you don't sin. But we're not there yet. We're still going through it here. My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness. So I created this reality for myself. I deserve what I'm going through. And it's so bad that nobody wants to be around me. I am a pariah. I cause everybody to run away from me. And, when you're feeling uber anxious and you have a negative disposition, you have that sort of pig pen syndrome. If you've ever seen the Peanuts cartoons, that character Pigpen always has that bad aura around him. When you have that, it begets more unfortunate experiences. And the more your aura is attracting those negative experiences, the more your aura gets filled with that same syndrome, and it attracts more negative experiences, and so on and so on and so on. And then you say, oh, I must be a miserable sinner. God's punishing me. It's happening to me. I have no idea why this is happening. When in reality, if you were able to just step back and look, I'm getting what I'm attracting. I'm attracting it because I'm living it. I'm experiencing it. I'm placing these energies into my own aura, and then I'm attracting situations that go along with those energies, and then I'm wondering, why I'm so victimized by the world. It must be God. It must be God's will. I am troubled. I am bowed down greatly. I go mourning all the day long. Well, there is a wonderful depiction as to why you feel so anxious. You're troubled, you're bowed down greatly, and all you do all day is mourn. Never once so far has the psalmist given an indication that they need to change their own internal attitude in order to change what's going on as far as getting rid of this anxiety. It's only reason after reason after reason why they believe that they're so anxious and filled with such awful feelings and such tension, and never understanding that they are perpetuating it by not even questioning their own attitude. For my loins are filled with a loathsome disease. There is no soundness in my flesh. The depths of my being, yes, my body, but the depths of my being is filled with a loathsome disease. And it's a wonderful way to depict anxiety or depict any of these self-perpetuating circumstances that we have. And it's so easy to see it in other people, isn't it? You can, when somebody's just going on and on about their problems and their life seems to get worse, and they keep complaining, and all they do is focus on the negative and focus on the negative, and they get more and more of what they're focusing on. It's really easy to say, oh, maybe you need an attitude adjustment. Maybe you need to start thinking differently. But when it's happening with us, we don't want to hear that. In fact, usually when somebody tells us, maybe you need a little bit of an attitude adjustment, we perceive that as a personal attack. We get very defensive when that happens. No, I want to be with a loathsome disease. I want there to be no soundness in my flesh. I just want to be that. I want to be in that and complain about it and blame God for the fact that nothing ever works for me. I am feeble and sore broken. I have roared by reason of the disquietness of my heart. Now, it's starting to happen. The psalmist is starting to wake up. Just the idea of I have roared by reason of the disquietness of my heart makes us start to question maybe the anxiety is something that I'm doing. Maybe I'm anxious because of what I'm doing. Maybe I'm anxious because of the disquietness in my heart, not because it's being heaped upon me by some external force. Maybe I need to change. Lord, all my desire is before thee, and my groaning is not hid before thee. This is the ticket right here. This is when things start to change. You don't need to fix your problems and then go see the infinite. You take all your problems to the infinite, and you ask the infinite to rebalance you. Now, you do have to be willing to let go of whatever is causing the issue. You have to be willing to let the infinite do the infinite's work. But you don't have to wait until you're better and then go see the infinite. In fact, you need to go see the infinite right now. You need to turn to the infinite, warts and all, and say, here it is. I need help. My heart panteth, my strength faileth me. As for the light of mine eyes, it is also gone from me. Confessing what you're going through, it's like going to the doctor and telling your symptoms. Now you're doing it in a way that's very positive, rather than trying to fix it yourself or just be all alone in your ruminations. Now you are in the presence of the infinite, asking for help, and now you're giving the doctor, if you will, the litany of symptoms that you're going through. My lovers and friends stand aloof from my sore, and my kinsmen stand afar off. My relationships are awful. Nobody wants to talk to me. Nothing good is happening for me. I can't shake it. All I do is get worse and worse and worse. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. And it's so true that not only do our personal relationships suffer when we get stuck in these dark periods of self-loathing, that also we allow ourselves to be victimized, not only by our own internal ego, which is doing this to begin with, but also to the people outside of us that want to prey on such people. We become easy pickings for the people that want to prey on those who are self-loathing. The abuses that can be heaped upon people is amazing to me, just the amazing amount of abuse that happens in the world. But so many of those abusers wait. They sit and lie in waiting until they can see, oh, this person's really, they don't like themselves at all. Good. They're an easy mark. So let's go. And we don't understand how we make ourselves more vulnerable to those kinds of abusers when we ourselves allow ourselves to hate ourselves so much. So no wonder we're filled with anxiety, because we don't have a very good opinion of ourselves. Now, what we have done so far is amazing. We've stopped blaming the infinite for our condition, and we've gone to the infinite with our condition and asked for help. But I as a deaf man heard not, and I was as a dumb man that openeth not his mouth. Thus I was as a man that heareth not, and in whose mouth are no reproofs. See no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. When we're going through what we're going through, we don't want to hear anything about we don't want to hear anybody's opinions about how to make it better. When we're going through these kinds of deep-seated anxieties, the last thing we desire is anybody to show us how to make it feel better or show us maybe another way of being. And you see that all the time. It's hard to see it in ourselves, but we see it in other people. Somebody's going through something and you say, oh, maybe you could try blah, blah, blah. I tried that. It's as if they're like, don't mess with my anxiety. I just want to bitch and moan. I do not want any help. I don't want to get better. Thus I was as a man that heareth not in... Oh, I already did that. For in thee, O Lord, do I hope. Thou wilt hear, O Lord my God. Whew, finally, right? We've gone through the litany, a lot of problems. It's been really tough for us to allow ourselves to be helped, but finally we are at a place where we understand it's up to us to say the magic words, please help me. Please help me. I don't know what to do, and I don't want to keep this. That's everything. Infinite, I don't know what to do. I need help, but I don't want to keep all of this. I don't want to keep this anxiety. I don't want to keep what caused the anxiety. I don't want to be right about this situation anymore. In fact, I would love to be very, very wrong about this. For I said, hear me, lest otherwise they should rejoice over me. When my foot slippeth, they magnify themselves against me. So now we're talking about enemies, but really what we're talking about is our own inner enemies. Our own inner enemies that we've been discussing throughout the psalm that don't want the help, that are we're out to get ourselves. When it says, rejoice over me when my foot slippeth, they magnify themselves against me. Those are self-destructive tendencies of the ego. For I am ready to halt, and my sorrow is continually before me. I want to stop this. I am ready to halt. I'm ready for this to end, even though I'm still feeling bad. Even though I'm still feeling sad and anxious and upset, I don't want it anymore. Before, I kind of gave lip service to not wanting it, but I didn't want to give it up. I was unwilling to give it up. Now I'm unwilling to give it up. Now I don't need to be right about anything. For I will declare mine iniquity, and I will be sorry for my sin. Here, it's not so much, oh, I'm so sinful, and since I'm going to repent for my sin, you'll finally forgive me. It's not so much that. The sin here is wanting to keep it, wanting to be right about it, wanting to be justified in what we were going through. You can't have both. You can't justify why you feel anxious and get rid of the anxiety. You can't want to keep your judgments about people and the world and have peace about those people and the world. You can't do both. So when it's saying, I will declare mine iniquity, I will declare that I don't want to keep this. I will declare that I don't want to be right anymore, and even that I might have been wrong. And I will be sorry for my sin. In other words, I don't want to keep this, and I want you to help me. To be sorry for my sin in this regard is really about, I don't want to waste any more time. I don't want to waste any more of my life being allegiant to whatever this is. But mine enemies are lively, and they are strong, and they that hate me wrongfully are multiplied. Now, you may have that going on in your life outside, but really we're talking about your own ego thoughts, your own ability to go against yourself, your own cleverness and creativity that you use against yourself. They also that render evil for good are mine adversaries, because I follow the thing that good is. Now, it's important that we understand this from an internal perspective. Now that you understand that you need to keep your mind anchored on the infinite and not on these problems, don't expect that the shriekings of your mind are going to just be silenced. But you have to do it anyway. You have to stay true to what you know you have to do in order to overcome this anxiety, overcome these problems, overcome this internal strife. You have to keep your mind focused on the infinite and no longer be allegiant to those old thought forms. And that period of time that it takes to do that, there will be shrieking. Ask any addict when they had to go through their sobriety program, when they first entered into any kind of program of sobriety, how challenging it was just to not drink for a day or not to use for a day. Well, this is a similar kind of addiction. You're no longer going to be allegiant to those old thought forms, and you're going to stay your mind on the infinite. Forsake me not, O Lord, O my God, be not far from me. Now, this is an affirmation that the infinite has always been with you and always will be with you, but that when you put your mind on the infinite, then it's as if the infinite's there and wasn't there before. But that's the power of your mind. It's not that the infinite went anywhere. The infinite's always there because the infinite's omnipresent, because the infinite's the one and only power. But you can use your mind however you want to. And if you decide to use your mind focusing on all the reasons why you feel so bad rather than focusing on the infinite, you are at liberty to do that. And now you are stating that you're not going to do that. Make haste to help me, O Lord, my salvation. What this means is not that the infinite has to hurry, because the infinite doesn't have to hurry, but we have to hurry. We have to immediately and quickly notice when our minds are on the anxiety and turn them to the infinite. And that can seem very challenging at first, but you get into a habit of it. And the more you get into the habit of doing that, the easier it becomes, and the more you notice that you lose your anxiety, and the more you notice things in your life start to heal and get better. And so you need to make haste each and every time you notice yourself back in those old patterns. I'm going to train my mind. I'm going to turn my mind off of this and put it back onto the infinite and allow the infinite to work through me. So you just keep coming back to the same psalm each and every day until you get a sense of peace and serenity, peace and certainty about your situation. And when you get that sense of peace and certainty and that serenity about what you're going through, that's a clear indicator from your deep mind that your spell has taken and you don't have to work on this anymore. You can just move on to something else. Thank you so very much for spending some time with me today. Until next time, blessed be. Okay, let's see if we have any questions real quick. Live. At what time in the day should this psalm and Psalm 51 be read? Anytime you want. You don't need anything but the psalms to do psalm magic. You don't need timing. You don't need incense. You don't need oils. You can do all of those things. And if you want to incorporate magical timing, you can. And you can look into my course called A Witch's Primer. I give you a whole class on how you can work magical timing. But the Psalms are not beholden to such things. You can work the Psalms in the dark moon if you want. You can do anything. You can do the Psalms at any time. So you don't need to be beholden to those things. If you want to use those things, you may, though. But it's not required. Alrighty, thank you so much for spending some time with me, and thank you so much to the amazing moderators, Heather, Honeypaw, and Dre. I finished this in record time, so we didn't need to wait till 11:15, but it's what it is. So we'll see you at 11:15 for our premiere, I hope, and until then, blessed be.